Make sure you watch until the end to see how you can win free gear and products. Hey, this is PJ with CLK Supplies, and I'm going to give you the 10 most popular transponder keys in the USA for 2020. Now, if you're just starting out and maybe you're thinking about buying a programmer to get going, maybe it's a Smart Pro or Auto Pro Pad or a Autech iKey 820, whatever program you're looking at, right? The next question you're going to be asking is, what keys do I need? Now, in the automotive world today, not only are there transponder keys, but there's remote-headed keys, there's FOBICs, then there's prox keys, right? There's a whole bunch of different styles of, chipped car keys today. However, the bare bones of all of those is going to be your basic transponder keys. It doesn't have any buttons on it. It's essentially a plastic-headed key with a chip in it, okay? So when it comes to programming keys and thinking about maybe what to get, you definitely always want to start with the basics, which is going to be the popular transponder keys, and that's what we're going to go over today. Now, if you've been in the key programming business for a while, you probably have a pretty good idea of what the top 10 keys are. However, just for fun, I would pause this video and I would write down what you think those 10 keys are. And that way at the end, we can compare, we can see how you did, and have a little fun in the meantime. Now, if you're new and just getting started, having this top 10 list of transponder keys is definitely where you want to start when it comes to buying inventory, okay? Now, this isn't going to be the end, right? This is just the start, okay? So this is a good base to build on as you can build your business and you get going and you know what type of vehicles are most common in the area that you serve. All right, starting at the top, number 10. But before I do, if you're like me, you're always wondering what number 11 is. Which one is getting left out? And the answer to that question is the Toyota TOY 44G key. Now, number 10 is going to be the Honda HD 106 PT key. Now, this is an older key. This is the Edge style before they introduced the H001 key, okay? But it's making the top 10 because, there's a lot of them out there. And the good news is it's a pretty easy key to program. Now, the test blade for that is actually going to be the HD 103. That's going to be the metalhead key for that. Number 9 is the Chrysler Dodge Jeep Y160 PT. Now, this is another really old one, right? This key started to become available in around 1997, 1998, and it was really the first generation Chrysler Dodge Jeep transponder key. Now, it uses the Y159 metal-headed key. Number 8 is the Chrysler Dodge Jeep Y170 PT. Now, the interesting thing about this one is the reason this is on the top 10 list, in my opinion, is because this is the working key, right? Or the emergency key for the Chrysler FOBICs, okay? So, the little FOBIC remotes, we'll pull one up here on the screen, you can see it. And so this key is like the overriding key that you can also use. So like in an emergency situation, if your customer, maybe you don't have the right FOBIC in stock, but the Y170 will do the trick. It'll get the customer back on the road. And I believe that's why that's number 8 on the list. Number 7 is the B119 GM high security key. Number 6 is the Toyota TOY 44D PT. Now, if you remember, starting at number 11 was actually the TOY 44G chip key, okay? Now, they both use the same blade, which is the TR47, and the chips, the D is the older chip, the G is the newer chip. And if I had to guess, in a few years, that G chip is gonna move down the list and the D chip is gonna move up, all right? Because there's a lot more newer vehicles that are still using that TOY 44G chip key. But number 6 is the TOY 44D Number 5 is the Nissan NI04T. Number 4 is the Ford H72 PT. Now, this Ford key here, the H72, it really started everything off in the transponder programming world, all right? So this is the first key that the first transponder key that Ford came out with. And I tell you what, if you've been a locksmith or programming car keys since the late 1990s or early 2000s, H72 PT has come out of your mouth a lot, okay? I'm sure for many years this key was actually number 1. Number 3 is the Chrysler Dodge Jeep Y164 PT. Now this has the more of the goldish head color over the Y160, which came in at number 9, and that has a more grayish color head. Here's a picture of the two side by side so you can understand just by the color of the head of the key is how you're really going to know the difference if you get them mixed up. Once again, it does use the Y159 metal-headed key that you can use as a test key before you actually cut the transponder key if you'd like. Coming in at number 2 is the Ford H92 PT. Now, this key is super popular, and there was a chip shortage a few years ago that only allowed the StratTech logo keys to be available. It was such a crazy thing. If you've been around for a few years doing this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They were a hot commodity in this industry. Now, a real quick fact about this key is there used to be a key called the H84 PT, okay? And what happened was that was a 40-bit key, and when the H92 came out, which is a 80-bit key, it was actually backwards compatible with the H84, so that kind of went off to the wayside. You know, no one really talks about that anymore. And the H92 is still used up until recently, you know, really all the time. And so I definitely see why the H92 is up high on the list. And it's a key, if you're familiar with programming keys, it's a popular one. I'm sure you have cut thousands. Now, without further ado, the number 1 transponder key in 2020 is the GM B111 PT, also known as the Circle Plus key. Now, this key is really popular. GM has really stuck to it for many, many, many years. They use this B111 PT. Now, the interesting thing is that if you've cut these keys before, this is probably the most difficult edge style key to cut. So I highly recommend using a B106 metal-headed key to make sure you have it under control before you start cutting on the actual transponder keys so you don't mess any up. That is the top 10 transponder keys in the USA for 2020. So for those of you who paused the video, I'd love to know how you did in the comments below. Also in the notes below, I'm going to put a link there to a kit that you can buy these 10 most popular transponder keys, okay? So if this list is something you're like, you know what, I don't have all these, or I'm just getting going, definitely go to the link below. You can purchase all 10 and get you going. Thank you all for watching. I can't wait to see how you did in the notes below. We'll see you next time. Since you just watched this video, I'm guessing that you work with locks and keys. And to us at CLK Supplies, that makes you a lock boss. And we want to hook you up. Here's how it works. Throughout the week, join the conversation and comment on our posts and videos and include the hashtag LockBoss. It's free to enter this giveaway. And every Tuesday, we're going to pick 5 winners from the previous week and hook you up with all sorts of prizes, including gear, tools, supplies. We might even send you a key machine or buy you lunch. So if you're a lock boss, join us every week to learn, grow, and win.